Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming back to join us this afternoon to look at some awesome recruiting tools with our pal, Dean Da Costa. For those of you that have been with us before, you know the drill. Dean's going to go over some awesome stuff and walk you through step by step with real life examples, and we'll answer your questions along the way. For those of you who haven't joined us before, here's a couple little tips for you. We keep you in listen only mode. So you're going to be hearing Dean, you're going to see his screen, you're going to hear me in the background, but we can't hear you. So please utilize your control panel, ask questions, follow along online. We have a special hashtag, our daily. We'll keep everything everywhere you need. You're not going to miss a beat. If you can't stay for the whole thing, the recording goes out within 24 hours and it will be hosted on recruitingwebinars.com. So yeah, don't be afraid. See right here, it says Dean won't bite. I promise he won't. You can hear him. He can't bite you. It'll be okay. And here's a little bit of information about him as soon as my little notification bar goes away. This is the guy, the man, the myth, the legend. He will be talking to us today and showing us all the tools. And Dean's really great. So if there's any questions that we can't get to today, send them my way. I'm pretty sure everybody has my email address from the webinar info. So alexis@recruitingdaily.com. I'll get you right in touch with Dean. So this is us. Find us on Twitter. I'm going to switch the screen over, make Dean the presenter, and he is actually going to show us all of the tips and tricks that we need to get started today. So without further ado, let me flip this over. Dean, you can show us your screen, and we can just hop right in. Woo, look, go Seahawks. All right.
Okay, can you guys see this particular page, Alumni US? I'm assuming. Good. So a couple of things before we get started. We're supposed to be talking about Generation Z or X or B or ABC or whatever generation we're on, since it seems to change from moment to moment. And we are going to do a little bit with that. We're also going to show some tools. But the big thing here, why we're doing this, is please, if you have any questions or any problems, or you can't find this, you can't find that, or whatever, please ask, because I have no problem switching directions to show you something to help you out, because the reality is, if it helps you out, there's probably other people having the same issue. So with that, Generation Z, interestingly enough, I'm not sure why we have to call everything a generation this, generation that. I have no idea, but we do. And the interesting part is Generation Z has almost exactly the same, with regards to recruiting sourcing, footprint as the millennials. And if you see that right there, 73% of millennials found their last position through social media sites. The estimation is that Generation Z will actually be a little higher than that. It's a little early to tell, but that's the estimation. I mean, this is the social generation. Everybody's on everything, whether it's Facebook or meetups or Instagram. They're all over the place. And in order for you to find them, you have to be over them as well. The interesting part is, normally, prior to this generation, about 90 to 95% of people were checking you out when you emailed before they replied to you. It's actually going up, 95 to 98%. So you having a social presence is important. You creating an email that is very targeted and very personalized is important. Sending email saying I have a job for you doesn't work with this group. And why would it? I mean, think about it. There are many more jobs out there than people, so why would it? They kind of feel like, as you can see, social media, there's always somebody looking. So you're going to have to do a little more than just send them a job email. I show you that because I think it's an important stat for you to keep in mind. So with that, we're going to look at, given the fact that Generation Zs are born in the 90s, that means a lot of them are like graduated or recently graduated or will be graduating, depending on your point of view on them. And so I thought we'd look at that. We'd look really at where can you go to figure out who's graduating or going to graduate or whatever. This particular site actually can do a lot more than just tell you who's about to graduate and everything. It can tell you who's graduated in the past. So if I pick Arizona State University, which is a major institution, you get a lot of general information about them. Okay, I really don't care about that. I know Arizona. And then you get to see some of the famous alumni. Now, Arizona State has one redeeming quality to me. Pat Tillman went there. It also has one bad quality to me. James Harden went there. But that aside, that was more of a joke than anything. You can see they have a lot of alumni. But down here is where I find interesting. you can actually pick the year they graduate. So you can pick people from all the way down back to 1950 to all the way up to gonna graduate in the year 2020 to 2022. Anywhere in there. So let's see. Generation Z, I believe, is born in 90. So 90, we add 18 to get them to 18. So that means we're looking for people who probably graduated around, so 18, 40 cards, 22, 22 from this, so about 2012 and forward is what we're looking at. And you'll notice they're all here. For this, we're going to concentrate on people who graduated just last year. And if we wait a second, we go here, look at the list. You get everybody who graduated in 2017. Everybody. You can even open it up and get more info about them. You can actually find out, let's see, this person lives in Arizona. Was a community assistant in Arizona State. We already know she graduated just last year. Oh, correction, she's working at Togo's Eateries. Well, that right there is more than enough information to try to figure out how to find her, to try to get a contact information, email address or something on it. More than enough. There's not a whole lot more information you really need to get to be able to figure out and to contact them. I actually just got through helping somebody do this, and we scraped about 20 people, and she found contact information for every single one of them and contacted them and is interviewing a few of them. So this can be done relatively easily. Now, your question is, okay, great, but how do you do it? Well, to scrape the information and get it out, which is always the most important part no matter where you search, and believe me, we've got some other toys for this type of stuff we're going to get to, you use a tool called Data Miner. I've actually already created the recipes needed, and I'm more than willing to share them. So as an example, we're going to wait for a data miner. You see the alumni profile and then alumnus. I'm going to push that one, which is run, and you're going to see what we get. Look, we got their name, we got their location, we got their title, we got some URLs, and some are undefined. That means I just need to fix my recipe. They probably changed something. But for the most part, we got everything we need to start figuring out how to contact them. Now, if you'll notice here, and in fact, I'm probably going to fix that right here while I'm with you so you guys can see how I have an alumnus profile. What that is basically taking the information from their actual profile. And I'll show you how that would work. If I go ahead and open this one and open this again and then do the alumnus profile, unless of course the change they just made affects it, oh nope, right there. So it's all there. Everything we need is there to contact them, put it together, upload it, do whatever we want to do. I will end up having to fix the scrape later to get this URL, either this URL or the URL from the picture, which opens it up. So that's what I'll have to do. But this can be done for literally anybody. Like I said, I just got through helping somebody and they were looking for people from Arizona State. That's why I came here, who graduated in 2017. Weren't worried about degrees. I guess it was for an internship or something. And so we just scraped the whole first page and she just started finding emails. Quick, simple, and easy. So that's one of the ways, but it's not the most fun way to me anyway, but it works. So before we go any further, are there any questions about this? This is alumni.net, and they are really good at keeping their data up to speed, and they have literally every college in the US. So you can go here and find anybody. Really cool site. What I want to do now, before we talk about tools, because I want to show you some cool Google stuff that you can do to find graduates, to find things like that. So what I'm going to do, and I've already got this put together, and the reason why I'm picking on graduates is because, we're talking about Generation Z. A lot of them aren't going to have been out there too much, and the idea was to help find you newer people. So you see that little that little Boolean string, site : with the wildcard .edu. So we're saying, look at all the edu websites, educational. List or list, graduate or graduation, 2017. So let's see what we find. Let's just go right here, list of Washington State University. Heck, why wouldn't we want to look there? I'm in Washington State, I'm all for it. Fall 2017 graduation list. Okay, Washington, let's see what we get. Oh my Lord, look at that. First name, last name, where they're from, and their degree. That's all you really need. You've got the first name, last name, where they live. There are sites you can go on, put that information in there. You have an approximation about how old they probably are based on the fact they just graduated, 18 plus 4, 22, 23, somewhere in that area. And we even know what degree they're in, which means if I want to say, find computer science, we'll just do under computer here. Let's see what happens. I haven't even done this yet, so this should be fun to see if it works or not. Yeah, all these are computer science degrees now. So if I'm looking to hire somebody as an intern to do computer science degree, boom, I got them. I'm done. And scraping this info is really not hard. All you got to do is highlight it and scrape it. You can highlight and scrape it through Data Miner. I only highlighted one, so I'll probably only get the one as soon as it's done scraping. See it up there, it says scraping. That's why sometimes it could take longer. I haven't created a recipe for this. If I create a recipe, this becomes really easy. So let's see what we got, if we got anything or not. Yep, we got the very first person right there. Great. If I go to the bottom of the list, assuming there is a bottom to the list, and there is, but there's the next page, and I try it from here, sometimes you can play with Data Miner and you can get it to do some really cool things where you get more than just one person. Sometimes not. Sometimes you have to create a recipe. For those of you wondering about creating recipes, come to the next SourceCon because I'll be doing a class on it. But as you can see, I don't need to in this case. We got them all. That's everybody on that page. Done, over. And like I said, we know where they're at. We know what their first and middle name is. We know the last name. We know they have computer science degree. That's all you really need to find somebody. And I'll show you how in a moment. So this string that I created really does some incredible things when you're looking for people who graduated, like in this case, 2007, because look at that, that's Washington State. Down here's Missouri State, Kent State, Angelo State. And where it says Dean's List and stuff like that, yeah, you could search under Dean List or Honor Roll and something and get people. You'll get a lot of them the same. But look at all these lists of people who graduated in 2017. And for those of you that are like, okay, that's great, but I need people that are going to graduate, as an example. I mean, you just put 2018 in there or whatever date you want, and you're going to get people there. Here we go. Now we got the 2018 list. 2018. This is probably showing up again. My guess is because it says fall 2017, and it also probably goes into 2018 lists. And there you go. Plenty of people. And it's easy to find out who they are, where they are, and what their numbers are, and I'll show you how. I'm gonna pick on me. I'm using a specific tool that I absolutely adore. As soon as I find it, that is right here, and I'm gonna make it simple and easy. I'm gonna pick on myself. So here in this case, I don't need much. I'm just gonna pick on myself. Dean Da Costa. It's not really how you spell it. I live in Kent, Washington. Okay, well I showed up, but the reason why age is important is if 5 Da Costas showed up, Dean Da Costa showed up, you'd be able to say, okay, we know they're around 22, 23. There'll be a couple that are in the 50s, a couple that are really young. You'll be able to know which ones are about the right ones. And here you go. This is me. This is called True People Search. It is 100% free. And if we go into the details, that's my phone number. That was, but isn't anymore. That's my phone number. And these are all landlines. By the way, this little icon here is called ZipWhip. It is an SMS tool. If one of them was a cell phone, I could just go ahead and text them right from here. We come down here a little more, you'll see email addresses. Let's see which ones are mine or were mine. That is not mine. That was mine. That is mine. That is mine. That's my brother's. That's my niece's, and that's mine. Now, why are they showing up? They're probably showing up because I'm guessing, and I'm not guessing. Down here, they're listed. I've already gone through this entire list. They are all relatives of mine, and most of these are as well. Actually, interesting enough, there's a few people on here that are relatives of mine. I didn't even know were relatives until I started looking into it. So I actually found some people I didn't even know. This is a great tool. This thing almost always finds something on you. I haven't yet to find somebody where it doesn't find me in some kind of information. You can even do a reverse phone or a reverse address. Really cool tool. One of my favorites when it comes to finding contact information.
How does that compare to just using like whitepages.com? Because it looks kind of similar. Do you have a comparison or preference?
Here's what I can tell you. Some of the information that you saw in here, White Pages doesn't have on me. I've already done that comparison. White Pages does not show the 3304 number. It does show the 3305, but that's because it's public. And obviously emails, and stuff and other information that White Pages, at least last time I checked, didn't have all of that info. So this shows more info than White Pages by far because it's not getting its info just from White Pages. This is actually an OSINT tool, and some of what it's getting is from open source intelligence. OSINT is open source intelligence. Basically, anything that you could find free on the internet is OSINT. Most of the stuff we think about it as like that, like Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that, that's like level 1, level 2 OSINT. This is like level 4, level 5 OSINT. White Pages is like level 2, level 3 OSINT. And what I'm trying to put in, I say levels just to give you an understanding. This is doing more than what White Pages does to find info. So it's like that next level up. Now, mind you, there's some really, anybody who's at my last SourceCon and saw my presentation about OSINT where I talked about Multigo and Creepy, those things are level 7, level 8 OSINT tools. So there's even more intricate than what that stuff does. And those tools are the kind of tools you see the government using, the CIA, FBI stuff. They actually will use some of these tools as well. Go. Was there a question? Okay.
Keep going, keep going.
Yeah, I find this is better than White Pages, to be honest with you. I really do. And now what information am I looking for? Obviously phone number, email is what I really prefer to have. But there are other tools as well that can get you information. And I will actually show you one. I just got to find it. I think it's this one. This is a tool called Elite People Search. I believe this is the right tool. Don't quote me on that. And while it's open, because it will, yeah, this is Elite People Search. It's a pretty cool little tool. It's free. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to worry about that. And I'm going to put a name over here. And I'm going to pick on myself. And I keep picking on myself. Now, notice I put Da Costa together, even though technically it's 2 words. Most sites and tools don't read it that way. And I'm going to search. And there you go. Dean, my address, phone number, and my age. Now, the phone number is blacked out. That's blacked out because I'm guessing it's my private number. But you can actually get it unlocked by messing around up here. But there you go. There's information that you need. For me, this is more than enough information. I mean, the address gives me what I want because remember, People Search does a reverse. This might be blacked out because it's actually my number too. I'm not sure because last time it wasn't, so they may have updated the system. Let's pick on my brother and see what it does for him if it hides his info as well now.
Is this free, this Elite People Search?
Yes, it's 100% free. It could also be it's not because I turned it on, used it so quick that the server is a little screwy. Let's see if we can get over here. Yeah, this is free and this is a really cool tool. I actually, that's why it's not showing me the number. It's on version 1.8. I need to update. Whenever the way you'll know that it's behind in updates with that particular tool is look at the edition. And if the edition is, find out what the most recent edition is. And if the edition's older, then what happens is it blanks out the number. That's its way of telling you, hey, please update. So that's why it was missing that. So that makes more sense to me. Now you'll notice here on this page while I'm at it that there are a few things here that I have here on this page that y'all probably don't see all the time. Like I get to see where their domain is. I get to see other information about them. And that's because I'm using an extension. Really, it's a brand new extension I just found that has all sorts of cool little toys in it. It's a Google extension, Google Enhancement Suite. And so what happens with it, oops, sorry, let me back. What happens with it, I need to see if there's a way to move this out of the way because this is getting in my way. Yeah, there we go. So what happens is with this is you get a whole bunch of things. You notice how there's more than one page, but I don't have to go down to the bottom to change pages. I can just go 1, 2, 3 here. It also auto paginates, so I don't even have to do that if I want to. See how it's thinking? It's going to bring the next page for me. I don't even have to do that. And then it tells me where the domain is, and it also tells me who owns the domain. It tells me a whole bunch of really cool information, and there's more. That's just the quick version of what of what it shows me. You'll also notice this where it says today at 11:12. That's a tool which I really like called Google When, and basically it lets me know when's the last time I opened it or saw a page. This comes in handy when you're doing a search for resumes and you're like, did I look at that resume already? Yeah, this will tell you if you did and how long ago you looked at it. So it comes in real handy as well. Like I said, you're going to get all sorts of neat stuff out of me on this thing. So long story short, are there any questions on this? Now, keep in mind, I'm doing Site EDU and I've switched the dates. It all works great. It's really cool. I actually was working on this night before last because I was working on something else that I was curious about. So what we're going to do next is we're going to look at something else, another way of finding these younger people, these newbies. Site twitter.com lists 2017 graduate. It's really interesting, the number of lists that are on Twitter. But what's really, really interesting is that you can find them. So let's go right. UCL on Twitter, 2010 graduation ceremonies are off to a great start. Now, think about this, Smith. These are the graduating ceremonies from 2017. Most of the people following these are going to be the people graduating. So just a little common sense. Now, mind you, I didn't put in college or not college or anything like that. I mean, I don't know if this is college or not college. UCL grad. UCL is probably a university of some kind. Yeah, this is a college. Okay, great. Who do you think's following these people? They're going to be the people who are graduating. That's who's following them. So now you have a built-in way of going place to place to place to find these people. And if you want to know which ones they are, look at the following. Who's following? Oh, I'm not signed in. Sorry. I don't stay signed in on Twitter. But just go ahead and look at who's following. Whoever's following is more than likely going to be the people who are graduating or the people who are members. And then you can just start looking for information on them to find them. Open source. I mean, Profit works well on Twitter and will find you contact information. There's several tools that will help you find contact information of people on Twitter. Like I said, I'm not signed in, so I can't view the following. But if I was signed in, I'd have a list of 889 people following. UCL graduates, you figure at least 60% of them to 70% of them are probably graduates, people graduating. And that's another way to do it. And it's something that people just don't think about. For some reason, people don't think about Twitter and lists, but they're all over the place. You can even find Java developers, a list of Java developers, a list of people who work on companies. That's actually how I found this whole thing. I was messing around one day and put in lists. I think I was picking on Apple employees, and saw Twitter. And I'm like, really? And I started looking into it. I'm like, wow, okay, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Next thing I know, almost every company, somebody's put out a list of employees at that company, or Java developers at the company, or graduates, or whatever. And this is how this particular technique came up. And as you can see, it works. There's Barclays graduates. And Barclay is a college, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You can actually list the name of the college and probably, and not probably, I know you can list the name of the college and you'll find people. Now, some cases like this is high school. Okay, that's high school. But there are others that aren't. Most of them aren't going to be high school, actually. So with that, let's go to, unless there's questions, we're going to go to the next place. And this is another one that I find rather interesting. The Twitter thing made me start thinking about, what about Meetup? Tough Mudder 2000. I moved everyone to a waiting list. If you have bought tickets, please message me. So this is about the wondering college grads buying tickets for some event. 2017. Just graduated college and moved to Silicon Valley. Okay, that's nothing. 1 year anniversary, 1 year, once in a payment from wondering college grads. Okay, so they just graduated a year ago, which would make sense, 2017, 2018. CUNY, which is a college in New York, says it right there, Tech Meetup. Okay, so that's just a meetup of people. Sometimes it's colleges, sometimes it's just meetup, but the problem is, what I'm trying to get at is you can find lists of people all over the place out there because of social sphere, because everybody wants to go to events or be on websites or be here or be there or be there. Go on Facebook even and look for groups. Washington State graduates 2017. There's actually a group called that, and they're all people who graduated from Washington State in 2017. So they're all over the place, and I don't want to go too much into detail and keep going down this road. We've gone down 25 minutes. I do want to show you one other thing. This is a custom search engine, not built by me, built by a friend of mine, and these are list finders. And what I'm going to do is simply put graduates 2017. Let's see what lists he finds. Look at that. The graduates, just like it, this is almost like that string I gave you, a little bit quicker and prettier, and you get to control, and there's some other things here we can kind of see where the info is coming from and narrow down. But here's another thing. It's a whole bunch of lists, and I can give you the link to this. This is open, free. Anybody can use this CSE. It was created by a friend of mine named Greg Hawkes. And as you can see, Missouri State released 2007 graduation list. May 2000 graduate dean's list and bronze tablet honored names. There you go. Everything you need right there. Open them up, start finding them. So quick, simple, and easy. So are there any questions about all that before we go into one more place?
No, keep going, but at one point, there are a couple people that wanted to see some of your data miner recipes, so we'll go back to that in a little bit, though.
Yeah, all right. So this particular tool is called Seekout. As you can see here, I actually did a search for people who graduated in 2018, and it found 72 people. Now, remember, 2018 is just happening. If I do this search again from scratch, I can almost guarantee you there'll be more than 72 people because by now somebody's up there. But the thing that's interesting here is, okay, wait a minute, that's not what I wanted to do. Save is what I had to do to get that. Seekout has a boatload of ways to search. You see all these colleges I searched through. Anywhere in the United States. See, now it's 73. It was 72, now it's 73. Yay, so it's gained one. But I had to do this in order to get the graduation year I wanted. And why is that? Because that's the syntax about how to find graduation. Now, it says graduate is not a term we understand to learn more. That's not necessarily totally true. It's just letting you know it's not a normal term for them. So if you go in here, all the way down to the bottom, here's a list of the fields available for a field search. You can actually search under these fields by adding the field, putting ... So in my case, I went to I went down in here and started looking at it. Now you notice there is no graduation listed. I used a little common sense here. I said, okay, I'm looking at this past job, majors, degrees, languages, honors, awards, all that. And I said, okay, I think I get the general idea here about how they're formatting these things. If it's a two-word thing, it's going to be part of the word underscore the other part of the word. Past companies, past titles, past. You see what I'm saying? So what I did said, okay, let's do grad short because they're not going to spell graduation because they haven't been doing it with anything else. Underscore year 2018, and as you can see, it worked. That's just using common sense. 2018 last graduation. That's just using common sense, looking at what they're doing and saying, okay, well, common sense dictates if this is their pattern, then if I do something like this, I should get what I want. Now, originally, I actually spelled out graduation. Didn't work. And so I said, well, the only other thing you can really do is put grad. It's either grad or graduation. There's nothing in between. I knew the year was right because there's no other way to put year. And I knew it had to be an underscore because that's how they separate two words. And I knew it was a colon 2018 because that's how they do that. So I went to grad. So it took me 2 tries to get it to work, and it worked. But that's just nothing more than looking here and using the best tool available to you. Remember this. The best tool available to you is your brain. Always will be. Nothing these tools do, all the things these tools do, I can do without the tools. Just might take a whole heck of a lot longer. This particular thing is one where I had to use my brain and just say common sense says if this is the way it's working, it should work. It might not have, but it did. And even though it says they don't recognize it, it worked. So they did. And if I change this to 2017, which I've already done that search, it'll find more people as well. In fact, I will show you what the 2017 one did. 2017, you'd expect more, and you got more. 113. Now, are there more? Yeah, of course there are. I mean, come on, graduates all over the place. Yeah, but remember, number one, I did limit this to certain colleges. To certain colleges. You don't get to see. This is the folder where I put them in. If I actually open up the actual search, you'll see what I did. I limited it to certain colleges. So it's not like it's every college there is. If I put every single solitary college on there, this number would balloon drastically. I only put certain colleges, and this number actually went up originally when I ran it. It was only 93. Now it's 123. So they found 30 more. 30 more have gotten in here somehow. So it's really a cool tool. This particular Seekout is one of my favorite tools, as a matter of fact, because of what they've done. They've done a lot of really cool stuff. Is anybody here not familiar with Seekout? If so, write something, type something, and let me know, and I'll show you more. If you guys are, I won't. I'll just go on. I'll move on.
There are a couple people saying that they're not, so hang here for a couple more minutes if you want, and then we can move on to the next one.
All right, so basically, I'm going to just do the simple version of this tool. Profile search. This is basically a listing of 116.4 million public LinkedIn profiles. And what they've done is public, like as you did an X-ray search into LinkedIn, just like you would anywhere. And what they've done is they've grabbed that info and enhanced it to provide all this extra data. It's a database. If LinkedIn goes away tomorrow, this is still going to be here. And they constantly update it and enhance it. So you can search. You got keywords here, security clearance or work authorization. If you need a security, you push that. If you need, they have to have this particular work authorization to work in the U.S. for you. You push that. Location, and then you have all these plethora of other things: state, country, diversity, female, Hispanic, African American, veteran, country of origin, current company. I'm not going to read them all. I'm kind of just going to read you a few: current role, past roles, schools, majors, all that stuff. Down here, you can even take off people you've already seen so you don't see them again. You can exclude recruiters, salespeople, leadership people, and everything like that. What you'll do is you'll grab the people you want, you stick them in a folder, or you can go one by one, get contact information, whatever, however you want to do. You can stick them in a folder, get contact info, download as a CSV, and move on down the highway. What they've also done is GitHub. Now, for those of you who don't know, GitHub was bought by Microsoft recently. There has been a little bit of a migration away because some people are anti-Microsoft. But here are a bunch. GitHub, 13.1 million people. As you see, I've already looked at a few of them. And a really simple, easy way to search. Oh, whoop, that's not it. My bag. Wrong thing. Down here, power filters. You can basically just say you need a front end person. Find the front end in here somewhere. It's in here. I know it is because I've used it and played with it. I played front end right there. Check it, and that's all you'll see is front end people. And again, the same thing. You can search by a plethora of different categories, all the way down. And then you can go ahead and save them to a folder and move on. Now you'll notice a lot of some of them have education, not all. The same thing applies. I could do the same search in here for grad days when they graduated, as you can see right there. And I would probably find more people that graduated in those dates. I haven't, because the particular role I was doing that for, they're not looking for developers, architects, and stuff like that. So searching in GitHub wasn't going to get me anywhere. In addition to that, you also have other social networks where you can search and grab people. And blind hiring, which means they hide the picture, hide the name enough so you can't tell if they're male, female, African American, Native American, or whatever, which is all goodness. In addition to all of that, they have an AI. So let's start with, let's see, I got to remember because they changed the AI a little bit on me. So they have two AI, position magnet, where you put in a company, like say Amazon. I don't know why I pick on Amazon. Put in a title, software engineer. What they are doing, they're not looking for people who are working at Amazon who are software engineers. What they're doing is they're looking at quickly, and they've done this enough to where they don't need to do it. They've created a persona of sorts of a Amazon software engineer has this background. They have this type of education. They've worked at this company. They have this many years, blah, 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 blah. And then they've gone ahead and find people that matched it for you. And there's 44,877 in here. That's US and Canada. This is not outside the US and Canada. They don't have people outside of the US and Canada. That would meet the qualifications. And the very first person, Sung Zhang, who I actually know, he's at Google. Of course, Amazon's going to be interested in him. That's a no-brainer. So it's really cool. It works really, really well. So I'm going to clear this. I don't want to spend too much time on it. People Insights is a research tool that can help you research insights about a company, insights about a type of position, insights about a role within a specific city, and a whole bunch of stuff. I'm very big on doing research before you start searching, because the more research you do, the better chance you have of finding the right people. And this helps you do some really, 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 really cool research. So we're going to clear. Oh, maybe let me get out. I have to get out of that area. And then, of course, you have People Insights here, which is another insight about the company. It's another way to get there. So in addition to all this, they have a Chrome extension, which will allow you to grab profiles and find you contact information on whatever you're on. Inside the projects, let's see if I can find one. We'll pick on this one real quick. Let's see, when you first, see AI recommendations. Once you get 3 to 5 people in a project, you'll have the ability to where the tool, the AI, will look at those and figure out what you're looking for and find and and recommend people. So if I review recommendations, here's other people they say fit the general idea of what I'm looking for. And you could say yes or no. So no means not a good fit, so we'll say no on this one. Yes means they are a good fit. So I don't want to add this one to there, not because they're not a fit, they actually are, but because I don't want to, because I've already done more than enough in this particular grouping. And you can add this to a project. And once they're in your project, you can, like I said, find contact information, you can export them, you can do whatever you want. And that's pretty much Seek Out in a nutshell.
What's Seek Out cost? We got a lot of people saying you can try it for 7 days, but I mean, are the pricing options pretty decent?
No, actually, I believe it's more than, I think you get more than 7 days. I think it's 14 days, although I could be wrong. And the pricing, let me put it to you this way. Seek Out and HireTool are two of my favorite tools.
All right.
You can get Seek Out and HireTool together and pay less than one LinkedIn recruiter license.
There you go, everybody, because there's a lot of people asking, saying, well, how is this better than what I'm finding on LinkedIn and all this? So that you just answered that in a nice little.
You want me to tell you how it's better?
Yeah.
You don't have to use InMails. InMails, according to LinkedIn, if you get 18%, now think about 18% reply rate on LinkedIn InMails, you're doing great. But imagine how much better you do if you had their personal email, which this gives you. Imagine how much better you would do if you don't have to worry about, well, if I send too many emails and not enough get back to me, LinkedIn will slap my hand and tell me you're suspended for a week. Let me remind you that LinkedIn has rules. Even with a LinkedIn recruiter license, you have limitations. You can only view so many so fast. You can only see so many people. You can only email so many people. And if a lot of people you email say they don't know you, you can get kicked off for a week or 2 or 3 or permanently. You don't have to worry about that here. And they've enhanced it. So you're seeing information that LinkedIn may not even have on them.
Yeah, awesome.
And so that's the difference. And keep in mind, I was one of the first people on LinkedIn. I'm very, very picky. I actually just took 5,000 people off of my contact list in LinkedIn because they were just trying to sell me stuff. Some of them ended up not being legit people. Some of them had more than one profile, and I just didn't want to be bothered. And I'm still and I do LinkedIn, but not for myself. If I go on LinkedIn now, it's because somebody on my team put something in a folder and they need me to get it out. Other than that, I don't go on LinkedIn anymore. Why would I? Think about this for a minute. Whether it's Seek Out or HireTool, this tool's got 116.4 million people in it. Now, remember, that's only Canada and the US. Now, let's think about this, man. LinkedIn tries to tell you they have 500 million people. Now, stop for a minute. You have fake profiles. You have duplicate profiles. You got profiles that don't have enough information to know what or who they are. And then you have people that aren't even alive anymore on LinkedIn. It's estimated by the time you get done with all that, you're down to about 240 million people, of which 60% of them are outside the US and Canada. So you're down to only about 117 million, give or take. Well, guess what? They have almost all of them. There you go. So what reason would I need to? And my issue isn't that I dislike LinkedIn. Like I said, I'm one of the first adopters. I've been on it forever and everything like that. I mean, you have to now. I just struggle with the idea that it's our information and they charge so much, and it just seems like they take away some of our abilities and charge more. Like they just took away in non-paid accounts, you're limited on how big your search string can be now. So now you're limited even more. It just seems like, but their prices just went up. So hey, we're gonna give you less, but we're gonna charge you more, and that kind of annoys me. Plus, I have a fear that eventually Microsoft's gonna close LinkedIn, make it a closed thing, bring it into their CRM and create and make people have to buy their CRM to have access to it. That's my fear, and the reason I say that is because one, I've heard rumblings from people I know, and number two, because it would make sense for them. One of the reasons they bought it was to leverage it for their CRM. They said that, so that's my fear. Nothing against Microsoft. Like I said, I'm ex-Microsoft, and I love Microsoft. Nothing against LinkedIn. I know people at LinkedIn, and it was and is a really good, valuable tool, but it's more limited now than it used to be. And tools like Seek Out and HireTool and Who Knows, which is another tool, provide you as much, if not more, for less. Has everybody here heard of Who Knows? So I'm guessing not because I haven't. So who knows is another tool like Seek Out and HireTool. Basically, the only difference is they've gone ahead and grabbed the public profiles outside the U.S. as well. So if you're doing a lot of recruiting outside the U.S., this might be a tool. But just so you know, price-wise, you can get Who Knows, Seek Out, and HireTool and still pay less than one LinkedIn recruiter license.
Right. Somebody
Limited.
has said Brian Reichert. I'm sorry, Brian, if I'm saying your last name wrong. But he said.
Hey, I know. No, I know Brian.
Oh, awesome. He said contact their Todd. Oh, he says hi back, Dean. He said Todd at seekout.io is great to work with. It is a great tool and it's very cost effective and it actually is a 14-day demo. So thanks, Brian, for giving that to everybody. I'll put that in the chat so everybody can have that as well.
Was that about Seek Out?
That he worked with Todd Johnson and he was great to work with. And he said that it's a great tool. It's very cost effective.
Todd Johnson at Seek Out. I'm just making sure because I know like 4 Todd Johnsons.
Yeah, it is a 14-day trial, everybody.
Yeah, and FYI, Todd's a great guy. Thank you, Brian, very much. I can put you in contact with the 2 head guys there, and odds are pretty good if you mention Brian's name probably or my name. They'll probably work with you and give you a little bit better deal as well. No, Seek Out is one of my favorite tools. I mean, I always say, people always ask me, what do you go to tools? So when I think about it, I always say back, okay, what part of the sourcing lifecycle are we talking? You have your research, you have your sourcing, you have your scraping or getting the data out, and you have your enhancing. And then we're going to skip the contact part of it. So you got those 4 parts. So which part of it? Because there is no one tool that does all of it. And there is no one tool that does all of it well enough that you only need one tool. You always want to have at least 2 tools in each category because things change, people change, tools come and go. Candidate AI was a great tool. It lasted 4 months and went bye-bye. Connectifier was a great tool. It lasted about 2.5 years, and then LinkedIn bought it, and now it's a shell of what it used to be. And I can go on and on and on. So for me, from a research perspective, Seek Out does a great job, gives me a lot of research that I need to find people and jobs. It's not the only tool I use, but it's the only paid tool I really need. The others are free. From a sourcing perspective, Seek Out's great, fantastic. One of my go-to tools, especially if it's within the US and Canada. It and HireTool and Engage Talent, I don't need anything else. I'm happy. Just give me those 3 and my normal Boolean capabilities, and I'm happy. From a scraping or downloading capabilities, all 3 of the tools allow you to download your results, and Data Miner lets me scrape anything. So I'm happy. And then from enhancement capability, Who Knows and HireTool have the ability, which I didn't show, to upload a list of people, names, name, a company, location, title, and it will go out and enhance it for you and find you contact information. I find between HireTool and Who Knows, I just did this, as a matter of fact, a list of 1,000 people, but between HireTool and Who Knows, I ended up getting 940 emails. That means there were only 60 they couldn't find. And of the 60 that they couldn't find, you know what? I was okay with it because I don't need 940 people. I'm probably going to get a lot of hires out of 940 people. So I'm pretty happy. And, if I really want the 60 that they didn't find, I can just find work emails, and that takes 2 seconds. So I was pretty happy. And Who Knows has that capability as well. So there's Engaged Talents for that matter. And then, so that left, so that's it. So if you want to take away everything, every tool I got, except for the core group I want, I just named them as of right now. Now that could change in a week, of course. But as of right now, that's it. Because between them, I get everything. If I'm looking for people outside the US, I'll use HireTool and Who Knows. If I'm looking for people inside the US and Canada, I'm going to probably do HireTool and Seek Out. The only reason why Seek Out's not handling people outside the US and Canada is because GDPR. It's that simple. There are enough people looking for people in Canada and US to where they don't want to deal with it, and I don't blame them. It's a pain in the butt. So at any rate, so here we go. And this is Who Knows. It's basically very similar. You got 307.796 people, if you remember correctly. That's outside the US and inside the US. There are some people here that aren't from LinkedIn, so they have a combined thing, whereas Seek Out separates GitHub from LinkedIn. This combines them, so some of these are GitHub people. not LinkedIn people. And they have an advanced search feature right here, which gives you all these capabilities to search into all this stuff here: experience, education, relationship, all sorts of diversity, everything. Same thing. Um, and then you get your list. You can save your list. You can get content information. You can download it. I'm the very first person here because it's my account. There you go, and show you XP. Same thing, except they have outside the US, which is huge, and it's simple. HireTool, basically the same thing. They're now focusing on their AI, so there is no free searching anymore. It's now purely through the AI, and they have diversity capabilities as well. So that's really good.
Do you have
I
any other tools you could suggest? I have a few people pinging me here asking what other tools would you suggest other than HireTool, or in addition to? Because I know
Well,
you're.
I just mentioned HireTool, Who Knows, and Seek Out. So
Mhm.
there's three right there. But if you want more, well, like I said, what did I tell you? Your amazing hiring is great for outside the US, by the way. Amazing hiring is really good outside the US. But you want to know what are the tools? The question is, why do you need tools? Why can't you use a little, oh, I don't know, common sense and a little brain power? Your best tool, your brain. An example. I am in the MVP for Microsoft. Why in the blue blazes Microsoft would be stupid enough to do this, knowing there are people like me out there, is mind-boggling. Look at all these MVPs. These are people who passed their certification, are all data platform people. So what do you think someone like me is going to do? Dean's going to go up here to my recipes and wait a minute or two, and he's going to go ahead and find, ooh, look at this, MS MVP, and he's going to run it. Unless, of course, I have to and look at what I get. I get their name, I get their URL, I get their award, everything. Now, you're probably saying, well, what good does the URL do me? You want me to tell you what good it does me? It's called a job. If I go into his profile, look at all the information I get in Spotlight, all sorts of information. Now, there's no email address here. There's no other social site here. But the reality is, first of all, he's in Bulgaria. So, unless I'm looking for somebody in Bulgaria, I can imagine. But I get to know what company he's in. I get to know his name. So I can find his work email real easy. The problem is, of course, how do you get that? To do that, you have to do a job, which is basically a fancy way of saying a double scrape. The first scrape is this info, where I get their URL. The next scrape is where the tool goes into each URL and grabs all that information. And by the time I'm done, I've got all 441 people, and I've got everything about them, including any social sites, any emails. Some of these people actually have email addresses in their profile. And so there's my tool. I use Data Miner to find information about people. Look, there's social sites, his social sites. Let's see. His Facebook page, and I don't even know what the heck that is. That could be anything. And I've created something that will grab both of them. So I'll show you just real quick. That's the public profile. See? And there's his Facebook page, there's his Twitter page, and that's all I need, Facebook and Twitter. If there's a bio, GitHub, I'd have all that available to me too. I get everything. There you go, quick, simple, and easy. We just solved, and it mind boggles me, and there's someone on here, I'm from Microsoft, going, wow, we have to get rid of that. Guaranteed, somebody on here from Microsoft is thinking that. They're just giving you the info. So why not take advantage of it? There's thousands of people that are MVPs. And if I happen to find one that has an email address, I can use Trinsley right here to send them an email right from here. Trinsley is a tool that pretty much allows you to send an email right from whatever site you're on. Whatever site you're on, it'll let you send an email from it. Right from there. So this way you can have all that info in front of you. You can even create reusable emails and use those. It's a cool tool. But anyway, there's Microsoft MVP. Done. Over. We're good to go. Microsoft develop. Here's msdn.microsoft.com. This is another one that I find interesting. And what I find interesting about it is the forums and the blogs. You can guarantee there are people in these forums and these blogs who are writing about things like hide the file type. So this is a Microsoft Office developers issue. Let's go in there and look. So the question is this. Here's all this information down here. And one of the people that responded is right there. Wow. Profile of user at Stack Overflow. Well, there you go. He's on Stack Overflow. You're going to be able to get his work email, his contact info. Easy peasy. Simple. One of my favorite sites that Microsoft has, and I know why I'm picking on Microsoft. I love Microsoft. I mean, I worked there long enough, is this site, which I've shown a million times. This is a list of people who are in their listed on their research part. There are boatloads of people here. I actually hired him. Shows you how long it's been though. And you can scrape this. And again, you can do something called a job where you could scrape it and then scrape in it, which I've created actually already. Let's see if I can find, yeah, right here. So there's the people search where I would get this info plus their URL. And then there's the one where I'd get their title, about, contact info, websites, LinkedIn, everything. So you could scrape this entire website if you wanted to, page by page by page, and get all these people. But look at what you're getting: software engineers, research people, managers, hardware, research. And of course, you can search for a person. You could search by a title. You can get just certain people. You can do whatever you want here. But there are thousands of people sitting here that Microsoft just said, hey, go ahead, please take them.
I love
So
it.
So there you go. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. And Microsoft's not the only one. I'm picking on Microsoft, but I shouldn't be. There are so many places out there where they just give that information and make it available to you. It's really interesting as heck. So here's something I found rather interesting. I was playing around one day in the hacker society, looking for hacker societies. I'm a bit of a hacker. And look what I found. I found a list of resumes, a whole boatload of them. And that's not what I was looking for. I was actually on there just reading about the site, So this is where I was. I was doing this. I was like, interesting. And I go talks, events, contact. And I said contact. I started playing around in here, and it said I mentioned this person, then all these officers. I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. And I go, you know what? And I do this with any site I go to. I almost always inevitably do this. I start with resume and see what happens. An error. Okay, that ain't gonna help me. Look what happens. I do that with any site I go to automatically. I look around, and if I don't see anything about resumes or bios or profiles, I start playing. If this wouldn't have gotten anything, I would have gone to bio. Then I would have gone to profile, then profiles, and I would have found something. And that's how I did it. Almost any site you go to, you would be surprised the information's there if you just kind of play around. They don't make this on the site, so you don't see it. If you look at the site contents for the site, it won't list the resumes. That doesn't mean it's not there. Just because they don't list it doesn't mean it's not there. You just got to find it. And so I do it with almost any site I go to. I automatically will go ahead and start looking at this. And I'll show you an example of what I mean. Let's see. Okay, no, that's the wrong one. I put together this listing here of things where I just do quick searches. And in this case, it's going to be resumes. See, site. Oh, shoot. Yeah, site, wildcard.org, resumes. And look what I get. Resume archive of National Student Network. Some of these are examples, so I might do minus sample, minus example. Resumes of dentists, childcare, people who are childcare people. I mean, and you look through there, and there's lists of AIA. I don't even know what the heck that is. AIA Pittsburgh. Okay, so this is architectural resumes, people who are architects. A lot of these orgs and groups, so you got org, you got .com, .net, .edu, are going to have lists of resumes. And all you got to do is go ahead and look at them, and you'll find them. I just looked at that one 2 days ago. I just looked at that one 3 days ago, just to see what was in there, as you can see. And that's what I meant. Your brain is, without that, one of the greatest tools. Is the greatest tool you've got. This is something I started playing with a week or so ago. And the more I play with it, the more I liked it. And remember, I'm just doing resume. I could put resume, I could put bio, I could put profile and profiles, and I'll get more people. Sometimes it's not a full resume, it's just a profile. That's all it is. One thing you need to be aware of with Seek Out, which I didn't mention, is they are in the process of indexing coming up with a way to find all of the white papers and stuff like that have been created out there. In case you're wondering, a white paper is something usually done by somebody explaining a product or a methodology or something like that, but there's always contact information on a white paper. So if you find a white paper about Java, then the names of the people involved are going to be there, and that means you have access to them. And obviously, if they wrote about Java, they're probably Java developers. It is just mind-boggling the amount of information is available if you just kind of think out of the box just a tad. And I'll give you another example. When I've used this example numerous times. Let me see if I can find the one I want. Give me 1 sec to find it.
While you're looking, I'll remind everybody, and I've been dropping it into the chat for the audience, but recruitingtools.com, you guys, a lot of the stuff Dean is talking about today, he has reviews on our site where it's Dean going through step-by-step, so seek out a lot of the other ones he mentioned, so who knows? So head over there too, because a lot of the stuff that you're seeing on here, a lot of these little icons that he's scrolling through, he's done reviews on, so if we don't get to something today, there's a lot of stuff on that site to check out, so don't hesitate.
Here's an example. I've shown this before, but I always come back to it because this is an example of thinking out of the box. This is the hadoop.apache.org site. Now remember, it's an apache.org site. This one's about Hadoop. There's one about Java. There's one about a whole bunch of different technologies. I'm just picking on this one. So I look at this and I see all these different technologies. First of all, from a research perspective, this is fantastic. We know Hadoop's big data, and look at all these other things that are big data oriented. So from that perspective alone, it's just fantastic with the amount of information available. So I look around and I'm looking at all the what Apache. None of this is getting me people. Boom, boom, boom. Mailing lists. Okay, that's interesting. Let's go into mailing list. Subscribe to list, unsubscribe from list, archives. Archives. Archives of what? Let's see. It looks to be archives of conversations. Let's pick one. Let's pick a newer one, June 2018. Oh, wow. Mailing list archive. Oh, wow. There's a whole bunch of talk going on. Let's see. This guy here is talking about Namer Rod and Daytona Blackpool user. Okay, well, let's open that up. Tony's talking about it. You notice his email's hidden. That's not a good thing. Let's see. Unnamed text name, view. Okay, view raw message. What does view raw message? Oh, wow, that's raw. Let's use one of my tools, the email extractor, and see what we're getting out of there. Boom, boom. Oh, wow, look at that. His email's right there. Remember, we knew it was Tony at outlook.com. There's his email. You can see it in the raw message. The email that was hidden is viewable in the raw message. And using email extractor or this email extractor, yes, they're the same name, or email finder, you can actually find the emails. See, right here again, boom, 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 there's Tony. You can email them right from here, or you can just download the email right from here. And it's that way with every single side. Now, here's where common sense works in. Well, let's see. We're in the Hadoop group, big data, and they're talking about it. I wonder what the odds are they're big data people. They're sure as heck not Chevron dealers. They're probably big data people. I mean, and you can do it with any of these. And the further down you go in the same exact conversation, the more emails will be. Look at this one down here. Look at this one, 3.1 all the way down to here. If I go into this one, this is going to probably be, I'm guessing, the entire conversation and all the data that goes with it. If I go to view the raw message, let's see how many emails we get out of that. We get that one, that one. These are Apache.org ones, which, by the way, actually work. So there are at least 2 in there. So that tells me, despite the fact it's a long thing, there's really only 2 people doing all the talking, which is fine. I kind of knew that going in. Because if you actually looked at it, there was really only 2 people going back and forth in that particular one. But look at all these conversations that are going on. Thousands upon thousands of conversations. I estimated right here alone, if you just pulled all the emails of actual people in here alone, you were going to get at least 500 people, if not more. All Hadoop. And remember, we're only in Hadoop, all big data, I should say Hadoop. Now imagine you're in the Java part of the Apache.org. Or any of the other technologies that they have. And this is not the only site that has them. There are boatloads of sites that has the exact same type of setup where if you just play with it a little bit, you can figure out who these people are and or even get their real emails. It's just mind-boggling the amount of information that's available. And we're actually, and you know what's really funny is I actually had more to go, but we are actually at 12 o'clock. So are there any questions?
You got to a lot of them. There's a handful I'll send over to you after the fact, but you hit all the really, really big ones. So thank you. Is there anything else you want to touch on before you have to go answer the phone?
No, actually, they're leaving a message. I'll call them back. I know who it is. No, not really. But other than number one, you common sense. Use your brain. There are tools out there that can do so much. Here's a tool called Payza. Yes, Payza, the tool, the people that give you salary information can also help, also has a talent finding thing. I put in a very simple job description for Java in Seattle. That's really all I put. And look at all the people they found. They tell me, they give me all the information, their salary ranges, what they have, where they work, and I can get contact information for them as well. And these aren't all coming from LinkedIn, FYI. I know. So they've done their own little searching and stuff. And it's right now free, by the way, because it's a beta. So take advantage of it. There are a lot of great tools out there. There's going to keep on the lookout for a tool called Context Scout. It's out right now. All it does is find email, but very soon an updated version of it's coming that's going to do a whole lot more than just find emails. And it's really going to be really cool. I got wind of what they're going to be allowing you to do, and it's going to be really, 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 really cool.
Cool. Sounds like we have another webinar to plan then.
Yep. Always.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dean. This was great. I love when you're on because I know I learn a lot, and the audience learns a lot, and a lot of people are already pinging me saying, when does the recording go out? So don't worry, guys. I'm going to have that up and running here in the next, hopefully, half hour, 45 minutes, and we'll get that email out to you with the recording so you can watch this over and over and over and over again. And I know a couple of you want to get in touch with Dean, so I will be bothering you shortly, and I'll make sure.
Okay. Let me make it simple. For those of you that want to get in contact with me, if you're a recruiter or sourcer and you can't find my email, time to look for a new job, because I am the easiest man in the world to find. Just type in my name. The very first result is my LinkedIn profile, I believe, and my email's right on there.
Yep. And if you're new to the game, you hopefully learned enough today to be able to find the email. So
yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks, Dean. It was awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And take a look for that recording here in a bit. And we'll see you soon. And we'll talk some more tools with Dean. So have a good day.
Bye, everyone.